Superstar of music delivered what turned out to be a rousing rendition of our national anthem.
And the rockets red glare.
Oh, wow, look at that. That's Flavor Flav. One hell of a cover of Francis Scott Off-Key.
A 92-year-old man from Spain recently completed a 24-mile hike of the Grand Canyon. Said the man, last time I was here, this was all flat.
Spirit Airlines, they just announced that they're suspending training for new pilots and flight attendants until further notice. I get if you have to do that, but why announce it?
Good morning. I'm John Rosen at WRJN. Thanks for joining me here at 6:07 on a Wednesday morning. So we made it through 7 days on the air. So, okay, now we should be able to coast a little bit. It's windy out there this morning, 47 degrees currently. Looking for showers and thunderstorms today, early tonight as well. Tomorrow's sunny, and the weekend looks kind of sunny as well. I'll give you a sneak peek for that. Of course, that could change at any moment. I've never known the weather not to change on a dime. So I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Coming up a little later on, we're going to talk library. So much stuff going on at the public library. Nick Dembski, who's the interim director of the Racine Public Library, will be in studio with us this morning. That should be nice. We'll be getting some news headlines from Stuart J. Waddles. He's going to supply the news headlines locally in just a few minutes. We'll find out what's going on around our town. I will tell you what's going on Main Street this morning, though. So I'm coming in this morning, and downtown, the car next to me jams on his brakes. And I say, ooh, I look over. It looks like a body in the street. It's not. Don't worry. It's not a body. But it looked like somebody laying in the street. It turns out one of the stores, the garbage pail, those black, garbage pails, tipped over and knocked all these bags, the black bags of garbage, onto Main Street. Now, luckily, this guy saw it because it's tough when it rains. Everything is so shiny. And it wasn't in my lane, so I didn't notice it at first. It was in his lane. Thank goodness he hit the brakes, because he would have hit that and probably knocked it into my lane. And then I wouldn't be so cheerful this morning. So I hope nobody hits that this morning. It's on Main Street just south of State Street, right in the right-hand lane there. So if you're listening, I don't know if anybody's going to pick up all that garbage laying in the street, but just a warning. You never know what's going to be in front of you. And I'm not a big fan of driving on wet streets because everything is so shiny. And on some streets, the lines going down the middle of the street are not painted well. And when it's shiny, all the lights reflect and you can't see what's going on. It may be because I'm getting older, and as you get older, nighttime driving's not as fun. But, I don't like night driving anymore. I used to drive overnights all the time. Not a big fan of it. And I always notice, and I mentioned this earlier last week, in the morning, people are late to where they're going. They're always running a little late. So therefore, they're in a hurry. And they always want to drive onto my bumper. Now, I drive the speed limit. And my wife keeps reminding me the speed limit is, and she's right, the speed limit is what it is. And a lot of times in Racine, it's either 25 going through residential streets or 30 miles an hour, like when you go through downtown or whatever. So I go 30 going down some of these streets, and people don't want to go 30. They want to get to where they're going because they overslept. So I just let them drive on my bumper. Unless they want to pass me, they can. But they're not going to speed me up because I'm not going to go over the speed limit, because it was set for a reason. First of all, I don't want to get a ticket. Second of all, they set the speed limit because it's supposed to be that speed going through the streets. But they're always on my bumper. Then they get by you, and they feel they have to accelerate just to show you how angry they are. and they got to go twice as fast as they wanted to go because he's angry because I didn't go above the speed limit. So that's me going in the morning. But I made it here. Okay. We're going to take some of your calls if you'd like. I know it's early, but if you want to, our phone number is 262-634-9756, 262-634-WRJN. And I came across this, and I talked to my daughter about it yesterday, and she's getting older. Not as old as me, obviously, but she's getting older. And there was a thread online where people were talking about outdated technology that they're still using to this day. And they're perfectly happy using it. I am one of these people. I mean, I go with the flow. My mother was a big user of the latest technology. At age 92, she was on Twitter. She was on Facebook. She was on the internet all the time. She was on she had a little pad. It was like an iPad, but it was a different name. She was on that all the time. She was whatever the latest technology was, she wanted it. And that was at age, 90, 91, 92. So she was heavily into it, where I'm not. I go with whatever works. So I don't know if you're into old technology. Are you still using stuff that's old? Give me a call, 262-634-WRJN. Now, I'm looking at some of the things here. These are a few of the things people say they're perfectly happy with, even though it's old technology. A notepad and pen, which happens to be sitting right in front of me right now. Because, when I'm on the air, I take quick notes, something I want to. You can't start pulling out your tablet and start typing when you're on the radio. That's my excuse. Watches that tell the time, maybe the date too. Now, a couple of months ago, I got rid of my watch because my phone's got the time on it. And plus, the watch was hurting my wrist. It was very tight. I still have scars to prove it. So I got rid of my watch. It's still sitting on the dresser, but I don't wear it. How about a calculator with buttons and a screen whenever I pay the bills? And yes, I do pay bills the old-fashioned way. I do have a little calculator, and I've had that calculator for over 25 years with the same battery in it. But I don't think it works on the battery. I think it recharges with the light in the room because it's got a little thing on there, like a solar pad. So I've been using that. Physical media. Now, we're going to talk about this with John Couture on Thursday morning. John Couture worked for Ingram Video, which was the largest supplier to the big box stores like Walmart, Target, and so forth. They just closed up shop. They went out of business on October 31st. And they had the biggest website, videoeta.com, for what's up and coming. They closed it down, and John was let go. He got a better job. But we're going to talk to John about physical media and what's going on. So physical media, and that includes DVDs, CDs, video games, books, textbooks, etc. Hand crank can openers. I still use my hand crank can opener. I use it every day. I mean, I got to open up a can. That's what I use. I think they think you should use electric can openers. I don't think they work as well. Now, it took me a while to figure out what this meant. A motorless lawnmower. Now, my lawnmower works on a battery, not gasoline, because I store it in the basement, and I don't want gasoline stored in the basement. Plus, you don't have to keep filling it up with gasoline. Gasoline smells. It's bad for the environment. So I have a battery-operated one where you charge it. So what is a motorless lawnmower? And then it came to me. It's one of those push lawnmowers. And I do see people still use those, by the way, the push lawnmowers. I remember before my dad got a power mower, we had the push lawnmower. It's not as fun as a power mower. How about paper maps? When I used to travel the country, when I first moved to Milwaukee from Atlanta, it was 1980. There was no cell phones. There was no GPS. There was nothing like that. I had paper maps to get me here. And I was all alone. I was traveling overnight and went alone with paper maps. And they work just fine. Now, they're not as specific when you get down a street. Sometimes they are, depending on the map. You can buy the maps, street maps. And I had a street map of Milwaukee. But for the most part, GPS is the way to go. And this one really hurt when it said, what old technology, outdated technology you're still using today? This hurt. A radio. Come on. Now, I know you can listen to us online at the app, and a lot of people do. They just go to WRJN.com, and they can click on Listen Here, and you can listen anywhere in the world by listening on your phone or your pad or however you listen to stuff like that. So a radio, that hurt me because I listen to radio all the time. As a matter of fact, we are on FM as well at 99.9 FM and 98.1 FM. I still like to listen to the AM 1400. I love the sound of AM radio. And real radio people who work in the business, love the sound of AM radio. Can't explain it. It's just something in our DNA, in our blood. So I like that. So those are the old ones. Is there anything I'm missing here that old technology people still use today and are happy with it? 634-9756. You got to dial 262 now. I think you have to dial the area code with phones, is that right? 262. There's old technology. You have to use the area code. 262-634-9756. 262-634-WRJN. Any old technology you're still using that you won't be afraid to admit to? Now, pretty soon it's going to be the old technology will be gasoline cars because people are switching over to either hybrid or electric cars. I know a lot of people have hybrid. I don't know anybody that's got a total electric car. We have to go to the electric pump. Is that what they call it? A charging station to charge the car. How long does it take to charge one of those things? I heard 20 minutes. You go to a gas station, you fill it up, it takes 10 minutes, you're in and out. I heard the charging stations, if you can find them, take that long. Now, the buses in Racine, I think, are electric buses, if I'm not mistaken. So those buses, I guess they charge them every day. I would imagine so. So that's the old technology I use. I still use the old calculators. I still use physical media. I love my DVDs and CDs. Note, pen, and paper, still use that. Hand crank can opener. And I still use a radio. Isn't that something, huh? So, 634-975-6262-634-WRJN. Let me know if you have any old technology you're still hanging around with that you won't be afraid to admit to. A lot of people are afraid. They want to be known as the people who are using the latest technology. Windy today. Windy right now, till 47 degrees. Look for showers and thunderstorms throughout the day today with a high near 53. Tonight, maybe some showers and thunderstorms early on. Lows around 40. Sunshine tomorrow with a high near 51. The weekend at this point looks partly to mostly sunny, so it should be nice. Highs near 50. I have a Racine Theater Guild show I'm going to this weekend, so I like to drive in sunshine. It's 6:19 now at WRJN. We've got more coming up for you. Don't move.
Tonight it's very clear as we're both lying here. There's so many things I wanna say. I will always love you. I would never leave you alone. Sometimes I just
That's Peter Cetera. That's from the Karate Kid 2. It's called The Glory of Love. Martial arts coordinator Pat E. Johnson just passed away. He's responsible for teaching Ralph Macchio the crane kick and a lot of those moves for the Karate Kid movies. He also played the referee in all the Karate Kid films as well. Pat E. Johnson. Yeah, because we all know Ralph Macchio is not a black belt artist, so he had to be taught that. So, okay, got some news headlines for you this morning. And in our news center this morning is Stuart J. Waddles, and here's what he'll be reporting on today. Formal charges have yet to be filed against Brittany Perez, the director of mental health services at the Racine County Jail. She's been arrested for allegedly smuggling contraband into the jail. The arrest came after the jail staff found a cell phone, pills, and razors in the cells of two inmates. During the investigation, it was revealed that Perez had a romantic relationship with one of the inmates and had been smuggling contraband into the jail for him. 3 Pleasant Prairie police officers who were transporting a handcuffed man to the Kenosha County Jail have returned to full duty after the man managed to shoot himself. The Kenosha County DA concluded that no criminal charges were appropriate. The officers had arrested the man at a hotel and were escorting him to a squad car when he became combative, prompting a more thorough search to be conducted at the jail. It was Saturday when the missing Kenosha girl was last seen. The Sheriff's Department is currently searching for missing 15-year-old Anna Marie Estes. She was last seen in the town of Wheatland around 2 a.m. on Saturday. Anna Marie is described as 4 feet 9 inches tall, 80 pounds, with dark brown eyes and dark brown and blue hair. She was last seen wearing a black hoodie and black leggings. The president will be about an hour car ride away today. President Joe Biden is scheduled to visit Belvidere, Illinois tomorrow, where he'll meet with the head of the United Auto Workers. The focus of their meeting will be on reopening the assembly plant in Belvidere and highlighting the recently reached contract agreements. Following his visit to Belvidere, President Biden will proceed to Chicago for a fundraiser attended by donors. If you get the feeling no one's listening when it comes to communication with the city of Racine, the mayor's new budget addresses that concern. In Mayor Corey Mason's budget for next year, there'll be a plan to establish a Department of Customer Service. It's said to be aimed at addressing concerns raised about the inefficiencies in government. The new department would be housed within the city clerk's office. A convicted felon wanted for a carjacking and killing in Chicago has been sentenced to 59 years in prison for shooting and injuring a Kenosha County police dog in 2021. Deputies from Kenosha County encountered Alan Brown at a gas station in Bristol, where he attempted to flee after a conversation with the officers. The deputies released K-9 rigs, leading to a pursuit during which Brown shot the dog in the head. Fortunately, K-9 rigs survived the incident and is currently in good health. We could tell from that pleasant snarl on his face. Thank you, Stuart J. Waddles in our news center this morning, watching things for us. I do appreciate that. Those are the stories in the weather forecast for today. Showers and thunderstorms, highs near 53. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms, lows around 40. Tomorrow, sunny with a high near 51. And the weekend at this point looks partly to mostly sunny. So we're happy about that. 624 at WRJN, 1400 AM, 99.9 FM, and 98.1 FM in Kenosha. Coming up a little later on, in about less than a little more than a half hour from now, Nick Dembski's going to be here, interim director of the Racine Public Library. He'll be in studio. There's so much going on at the library that you probably don't know about. I get the emails, so I know what goes on there. My wife and I partake in a lot of the activities at the Racine Public Library. It's things you wouldn't think about. Get-togethers with other couples talking about books, movies, whatever you want to talk about, the discussion groups. And I'll mention this later on. I mentioned it before. We went to a hot sauce tasting at the library, which was good. Maybe last year, a couple of years ago, I think, right before COVID, there was a person who knew about the history of Racine. I'm trying to remember what it was about. If it was Spooky Racine or something like that. And we were talking and gave a great discussion. So things like that going on all the time at the library. A lot of things going on for kids. Typing classes going on as well. I'll tell you about my typing story later on. So that's all coming up at WRJN. 625 right now. You want to live longer? The American Heart Association has 8 things you could do to live longer. This sounds like a lot of work to me. Eating right, being more active, do not use tobacco, get enough sleep, keep your weight in check, control cholesterol, manage blood sugar, and keep blood pressure in check. All great things to do. I know it sounds like a lot of work, but I guess if you do them, you'll be a healthier person for it. And that's, I guess, what we all want. Your family wants that too. I was going to use this story, but it's a little not morning-ish. I think I'll save that for another time. What else do we have here for you this morning? A hotel valet in Baltimore steals an Audi RS7, took it for a joyride. And then is this irony or is it karma? He gets carjacked at gunpoint. Yeah, I know. And then what else do we have? A survey found the minor crimes that people are most likely to commit. And I want to talk about this in the next half hour, but I'll give you a sneak preview. These are crimes that we say, everybody does it. Who cares? Everybody does these things, so it's not a big deal. Okay, let's find out. You buy something, you wear it once, and then you return it. You take a sick day when you're really not sick. You illegally download music or movies. That is a crime. Getting too much change back when you buy something and you pocket it. You keep the money. logging on to someone else's Wi-Fi without their permission, eating grapes or other little things at the supermarket. I have seen that. Years ago, I saw that. I was picking up some stuff in the vegetable department, and I saw a woman, the grapes, take a grape off and eat it right while I was standing there. What a nerve, eating food in the supermarket. Smuggling food into a movie theater. Now, I don't think that's wrong. I think you're allowed to bring stuff in. I could be wrong on that, but I never saw a sign that says you can't do it. Using the bathroom at a store or restaurant without buying something. Well, I guess if you got to go, you got to go, right? Driving with an expired registration. Now, this is a personal one for me. You know the little tags in the bottom right of your license plate? Well, one day I didn't get it on in time. I just got it the day before, and I didn't put it on. And it was the month after, so I was, had to get it on the car. And I didn't have it on. And I'm driving down back streets and side roads because I'm so afraid the cop's going to see me because I didn't have the stay. I was one day late with it. And I was really nervous that somebody was going to see me and report me with that. I don't think that's a crime. I guess it is a crime, right? Driving without a registration on your car. How about lying to get a discount? You ever do that? You lie? Things like saying it's your birthday when it's not, saying there was a problem with your food when it's not, just to get a freebie out of it. Next half hour, we'll see what minor crimes you may have committed. Our phone number, 262-634-9756, 262-634-WRJN. You can give us a call. Looking for a showery or thunder showery day today? A little bit. Highs near 53. It's windy and 47 degrees right now. It's 6:29 at WRJN. I'm Don Rosen. I want to thank you for joining me this morning.
I saw that Mark Zuckerberg just announced that he tore his ACL while training for an upcoming MMA fight. The doctor was like, seriously, how'd you hurt yourself?
The fastest runner in the New York City Marathon finished the course in just under 2 hours and 5 minutes, a full 10 minutes faster than if he had taken the bus.
Some news from overseas. I read that Vladimir Putin plans to run again in next year's presidential election. And somehow Putin is also leading Biden in 5 swing states. Yeah, I don't know. If Putin wins, he'll serve his 5th term as president. And if he loses, he'll serve his 5th term as president.
Drive a million miles to be with you tonight. So if you're feeling love, turn up your radio. The words we use are strong, they make reality. But now the music's on. Well, baby, dance with me. Yeah.
And good morning, I'm Don Rosen. Thanks for joining us here at WRJN this morning. It's 48 degrees and windy. Roads are slick. A lot of leaves out there that are wet, so please be careful driving this morning. 6:36 coming up at 7 o'clock this morning after the news. We'll talk to Nick Dembski, the interim executive director of the Racine Public Library. So much stuff going on at the library. It's the latest, it's the greatest. It's the library, or library. Kids like to say, it's the library. We talked this morning about a couple of things we can chat about on the air. If you've got a opinion on it, give us a call, 634-9756, 262-634-WRJN. We were talking about technology that's outdated that people happily still use, like notepads and pen, which I still use, watches that tell the time and date, calculators with buttons and screens, physical media, DVDs, CDs, video games, books, textbooks, etc. One of my neighbors was telling me she got rid of her DVD player. I have thousands of DVDs and Blu-rays. I'm not getting rid of anything. A hand crank can opener. I still use that. I don't know why people feel you have to use electric. A push lawnmower. I think I've seen one in the last decade. Paper maps, and the one that hurt the most was a radio. Any old technology you'll admit to use that people make fun of you when you're using it? 262-634-9756. 262-634-WRJN. Also, have you ever committed a crime? And I mean not robbing a bank crime or murdering somebody. I mean like buying something, wearing it once, returning it. Maybe even wearing it to an event and then returning it. Taking a sick day when you're not really sick. Illegally downloading music or movies, which is a federal crime. Getting too much change back when you buy something. You know you're getting too much back and you still put it in your pocket without telling anybody. Logging onto someone else's Wi-Fi without their permission. Eating grapes or other little things in a grocery store. Smuggling food into a movie, which I don't think is not allowed. I think it may be allowed to bring your own stuff in. They don't encourage it, but I don't think they can stop you. Using the bathroom at a store or restaurant without buying anything. I think people do that all the time. Driving with an expired registration and lying to get a discount, like claiming it's your birthday or that there's a problem with the food. Now, I went once to Denny's on my birthday. I went with my wife. I think it was my birthday. You used to get a free breakfast or something. I don't know if they do that anymore. But they wanted like 7 forms of ID. They wanted your birth certificate. They wanted a driver's license. They wanted 2 references. They wanted a picture of the hospital you were born in. And they wanted a letter from the doctor who helped with the birth. So I don't think they do it anymore, though. I guess it was too easy to lie to people. They just said, I'll give them the breakfast. 262-634-9756. 262-634-WRJN. We'll check the news headlines locally from Stuart J. Waddles coming up shortly. Do you have an addiction to your cell phone? I do. I have to put my cell phone in the bedroom at night if I'm out there in the living room because I'll be looking at it constantly. And I find myself picking up the cell phone for no apparent reason whatsoever. There's no reason for it. I just pick it up, I turn it on, and I look at it. Now, I read a thing where Android users are not as bad as iPhone users, but we still spend over 50 days a year in total, which if you add up all the hours and minutes, 50 days a year doing that. And there is a way to curb your raging addiction to your cell phone. It's not easy, but you can do it. A former designer from Google says if you make your phone screen all black and white, get rid of the color on there, that will help. Instead of the millions of colors you have now, it blocks your addiction. All those colors are positive reinforcements that keep you scrolling and tapping. By going grayscale, you won't have as much of an urge to use your cell phone. I hate changing things on my cell phone because I'll never get it back to the way I want it. I'm one of these people that's terrified of what technology can do to me. Have you ever picked up your cell phone and there's an ad for something that you were just talking about, a topic you were talking about with somebody in the room? Happens to me a lot. If I talk to my wife, yeah, did you see that new Chevy the other day? Oh, I really liked it. Pick up your cell phone, there's an ad for Chevy on there. And it's not a coincidence, I don't think. I think your phone is listening to you at all times. I just have that feeling. I know that's one of those conspiracy theories, but I think it is listening because it happens more than once. I'll say, gee, I'm hungry right now. Is there a restaurant in town? And then you find an ad for a restaurant in town on the cell phone. Has anybody else had that happen to them? Or am I a conspiracy theory guy? And I don't like conspiracy theories because I don't believe in them. Give me a call, 262-634-9756, 262-634-WRJN. Nice to have that phone number back, by the way. When Civic Media asked me, what phone number do you want for the studio? I said, it's got to be 634-WRJN. That's the phone number everybody remembers. And they said, done. So that's the way it's going to be. Cash or plastic, that's another thing. Excuse me. I'm old-fashioned about. My daughter pays everything by phone. Either lets them dip into her bank account or, just shuffles it over to her, the bank or whoever from the phone. Doesn't own a checkbook. Can't write a check because she doesn't own one. She never got one. Where everything with me, I don't want people dipping into my accounts. Now, there were a couple of things I have where you have to let them do that. You have to put your credit card on file or they won't do business with you, and I understand that. So the limited number of companies that I let do that, not a lot. But I don't want to pay my bills like that because I want to pay what I want to pay when I want to pay it. But, I say I pay by check, and a lot of people say, that's old, that's out. My daughter tells me all the time, she said, you still do that? Yes, I still do that. And by the way, when you got married, I see you cash the check I gave you as a wedding present. So don't be bad-mouthing checks because you cashed it. So cash or plastic, what do you use these days? I will pay cash at the gas station because I don't trust those credit card things at the gas station. I've seen too many stories where people put the credit card readers. You ever see those things? When you insert your credit card at the gas pump, not saying all the time, I'm saying it does happen occasionally with people that aren't nice. They'll put these little credit card readers over where you put your credit card in, and it reads everything on your credit card, and then they come by one day and they just take it off and they have all your credit card information. Whenever I use an ATM, and I think I only use one ATM, two ATMs I use at my bank, I'll always try to tug on it first to see if there's a phony thing covering it and just yank on it because I don't want my information getting out. I'm very paranoid about that. So I try to pay in cash when I can at gas stations, all the time at gas stations. But it's something at supermarkets and stuff, you got to, who carries around that kind of money in your pocket? So I got to pay plastic then. But it makes me nervous. This is interesting. When did you first learn to text? There was a time when I had to take my first time texting. 22% of people say the first time they figured out how to send a text message. Are you ready for this? When they voted on American Idol. Remember that? 99 cents for a text message. Do they still charge when you have to text out to these? I don't think so anymore. But do you remember they used to charge you 99 cents to send out a text message? It seems ludicrous today to have to pay for that kind of thing, huh? Thieves will steal just about anything from someone. Someone stole 35 porta potties from a racetrack. Some of them were, full when they were taken. The police are still trying to find out who the thieves are and why they took them. Now, those porta potties are up to $2,000 each, but who buys porta potties on the open market? Is there a black market for that thing? Remember in high school, you played flag football because they didn't want you tackling people and hurting them and getting them all dirty for the next class. So you played flag football. Now, for people not familiar with that, it was a little belt you wore around your waist, and on the side, on your hip, there was a Velcro flag. Instead of tackling somebody, you yank that off there, and that's considered a tackle. That's what flag football is. Well, it's now going to be an Olympic sport in the 2028 Games in Los Angeles. Flag football. There'll be men's and women's divisions. Also added to the Olympics, squash, which I have no idea how to play, cricket, which I have no idea how to play, lacrosse, baseball, and softball are returning to the Olympics. Flag football is going to be an Olympic sport? Okay. A DoorDash driver in New Hampshire gets stopped for driving on a suspended driver's license. So the police officer delivered the last order for her. The customer had no idea why the cops were at her door with a McDonald's bag, no less. And she says she felt bad because she forgot to tip the police officer when the police officer came by. The weather forecast for today when you're heading out, it's kind of wet, a little drizzle here and there. Look for showers, thunderstorms, highs near 54 degrees today. Cloudy showers and thunderstorms tonight. Lows around 40. Tomorrow, sunshine with a high near 50. And the weekend looks sunny at this point, partly to mostly sunny with a high near 50 degrees. It's 6:46. We can take a look at some of the news headlines. Stuart J. Waddles in our news center this morning, and some of the stories Stuart is checking out. First of all, nationally, the elections last night, And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Some of the local headlines. Formal charges have yet to be filed against Brittany Perez, the director of mental health services at the Racine County Jail. She's been arrested for allegedly smuggling contraband into the jail. The arrest came after jail staff found a cell phone, pills, and razors in the cells of 2 inmates. During the investigation, it was revealed that Perez had a romantic relationship with one of the inmates and had been smuggling contraband into the jail for him. This was on, not this case, but there was a similar case on 2020. Also, Dateline did the same story. A woman who, I guess she worked at the prison and she brought dogs in so the inmates can learn to train dogs. It was like an educational program for the inmates. And she became friends with one of the inmates. And, inmates can do that sometimes. They can, become good friends with people. And she helped them escape. And they went on the run. And eventually they were caught and she took her own life because she didn't want to face the consequences of what was waiting for her. And she had a husband and every family. What possessed her to do that? So I guess it does happen. And that's kind of sad, too, when that happens, because she threw away not only a great career, she threw away her life and also her family's, for that matter, as well. So it does have. There was another story like that recently on Dateline in 2020 where one of the jailers, the woman, she was, manipulated by one of the prisoners, and she helped him escape, and she got caught as well. I mean, it happens. I don't know how you can get that close to a prisoner and let them talk you into helping them escape, but she did. And unfortunately, at the time, there were no cameras watching that cell. That was the one cell where the camera was a blind area. So it does happen. We'll check more of the headlines coming up. We have news at the top of the hour as well. Coming up at 7 o'clock this morning, we're going to talk Public Library. Nick Dembski, Interim Executive Director of the Racine Public Library, is going to be here. We're going to chit-chat. And if we can, I know there was some calls coming in a second ago. I didn't take them. I will take them, though. So stand by. 649 at WRJN Radio. It's 6:51 at WRJN. Lucky for showers and thunderstorms today with a high near 54 degrees. Cloudy showers and thunderstorms tonight. Lows around 40. Sunny tomorrow. Beautiful day. Highs near 50. And for the weekend, sunny with a high near 50. Remember what was happening 1 week ago today? We were encased in ice. Remember that? That was terrible. I tried to get my trunk opened up to get the ice scraper out, and it was frozen solid. Couldn't get it open at all. In the news, a restaurant owner in California caught a Grubhub delivery driver eating a customer's food right out of the bag. So he called the customer, told him, don't eat the food. He was recooking it. He would personally deliver it to them. Grubhub says they've suspended the driver. Makes you think, huh? Hey, good morning. You're on WRJN. Hi, how are you?
Good again. And you?
I am fine. I'm doing really well. I'm avoiding all sickness, colds, COVID. I'm like avoiding everything. I take my vitamins every day, and hopefully I'll stay healthy.
That's good. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Well,
Trying the same thing. So, hey, good to be healthy.
Yeah. Yep, always good to be healthy. My wife's a big vitamin taker. I was never a big vitamin taker, but I take my zinc and my vitamin C every morning and my vitamin D pills. And I go for an annual physical. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. I'll hear the rest of the story from my doctor at that point. But no, it's pretty good. I went for when you go for your physical, you have to do the eye test. And you know how the bottom line, when you look at it, it looks like a couple of dots, but it's actually letters and numbers on there. So they're doing it. I said, does anybody ever be able to read that? So my doctor came by, and I said, you can't read that. Nobody on this planet can read that last line. So he reads it. Of course, he was all wrong. I don't even know why they put it on there. Nobody can read that. What I'm going to do is, when I go for the eye test this week, or in a couple of weeks, I'm going to go and I'm going to memorize the last line. When I go down the hallway, I'm going to read it, and I'm going to make words out of it, like a sentence, so I can read it, and I'm going to just knock them out when they say, I'm going to read the bottom line. Forget that big E at the top. I'm going to read the bottom line, and I'll really get a high score on my physical exam and my mental exam as well. Anything you want to say?
Well, I have a couple radio questions.
Okay.
Okay, that was posed by one of your past guests already. Yeah.
So what radio question you have?
Okay, when you have someone on, say, like Mark Hertzberg.
Right.
Okay, or you have, I don't think you've gone that route yet, but someone who represents a company. Say there's another station that interviews a veterinarian every week. Are there any funds that change hands in those circumstances?
Nope. I never interview for money.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Never
Now,
interview for money. And I get you. Radio stations don't do that. We don't sell interviews.
Okay, so like the veterinarian, I mean, yeah, he's saying do this for your cat, dog, or something like that, but he's kind of advertising his service.
Nope. Nobody. No money ever changes hands. You know, when I interviewed Doug Incidents from the Racine Theater Guild, the thing with that is it's something Racine should know about. It's not.
Right.
It's something we all have to know about, the Racine Theater Guild. But no money ever changes hands. Now, they are an advertiser, but it's just a coincidence. I would have him on anyway. It doesn't make a difference. When we do interviews with people on the radio, it's because they have something to say, and it's interesting, and it's of importance and interest to the people of Racine. But we don't sell interviews. Hey, Jeff, thanks for calling. Do appreciate it this morning. Do appreciate that. It's 6:55. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk to the public library, Mr. Public Library himself, Nick Dembski, the interim director of the Racine Public Library. So much going on there. A lot of people have no idea what's going on at the library. I get the emails, so I know everything that's going on at the public library. Some of the other stories Stuart J. Waddles will be watching for us this morning. 3 Pleasant Prairie police officers who were transporting a handcuffed man to the Kenosha County Jail have returned to full duty after the man managed to shoot himself. The Kenosha County District Attorney concluded that no criminal charges were appropriate. The officers had arrested the man at a hotel and were escorting him to a squad car when he became combative, prompting a more thorough search to be conducted at the jail. It was Saturday when missing Kenosha County girl was last seen. The Sheriff's Department is currently searching for the missing 15-year-old Anna Marie Estes. She was last seen in the town of Wheatland around 2 a.m. on Saturday. Anna Marie is described as 4 feet 9 inches tall, 80 pounds, with dark brown eyes and dark brown and blue hair. She was last seen wearing a black hoodie and black leggings. The president will be about an hour car ride away tomorrow. President Joe Biden is scheduled to visit Belvidere, Illinois tomorrow, where he'll meet with the head of the United Auto Workers. The focus of their meeting will be a reopening of the assembly plant in Belvidere and highlighting the recently reached contract agreements. Following his visit to Belvidere, President Biden will proceed to Chicago for a fundraiser attended by donors. If you get the feeling no one is listening when it comes to communication with the city of Racine, the mayor's new budget addresses that concern. In Mayor Corey Mason's budget for next year, there was a plan to establish a Department of Customer Service. It's said to be aimed at addressing concerns raised about the inefficiencies in government. The new department will be housed within the city clerk's office. And a convicted felon wanted for a carjacking and killing in Chicago has been sentenced to 59 years in prison for shooting and injuring a Kenosha County police dog in 2021. Deputies from Kenosha County encountered Alan Brown at a gas station in Bristol where he attempted to flee after a conversation with the officers. The deputies released K9 Riggs, leading to a pursuit during which Brown shot the dog in the head. Luckily, K9 Riggs survived the incident. He's currently in good health and has a pleasant little snarl on his face. That's good news. All right, coming up in just a moment, we're going to be talking the public library. Got to keep it here at WRJN Radio, 99.9 FM, AM 1400, also 98.1 in Kenosha.